Hi, I'm James Green, and I'm the Director of Entrepreneurship Education for MTech at the University of Maryland, and I'm happy to be teaching our course in developing innovative ideas for new companies. In my experiences in teaching courses since 2004, I like to start courses by talking about why innovation entrepreneurship, what is it that has attracted students to such a course, and inevitably money appears as a motivator that many students voice. And within that, if money is one of your success measures or desires of such a course, then hopefully we will improve your opportunity to evaluate opportunities and successfully act on those opportunities and grow rich in the process. We also see control, and that is the element of being your own boss as being a motivator for many entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. And with that, we'll talk about what are the elements that are perhaps within your control, outside of your control. How do you manage risk and other factors inherent within that? Freedom, and connected with freedom, independence, are two other areas that are very common in the motivations for the pursuit of creating your own venture, and that you have the flexibility to launch the products that you want to launch and serve the customers you want to serve and add value in the markets that are attractive to you. And so those are, again, central motivators that we'll talk about. The aspect of creation, particularly as it's related to technology ventures and product-based ventures, are key attractants as well to a career in entrepreneurship. The opportunity to go through and take something that is a unique way of solving a problem, is a new and unique way of serving a specific community, certainly, again, adds a lot of value, and a lot of people get that satisfaction out of being able to build something and see that actually launched. Helping. In some cases, this may be called social entrepreneurship or social venturing, but beyond the core areas of serving customers and helping the markets and contributing to job creation and things of that nature, what I mean in this context is, are there specific venture ideas that people have that may help to further the aims of education or improving the level of poverty that people may experience, of environmental impact, of healthcare impact. So in that way, again, many people are drawn into entrepreneurship, and they see this as an avenue to solve some of these challenges within society. And the skills that you'll be learning within our course are also very relevant to that aim as well. So if we have this thing called entrepreneurship, and it's a way that you can make money, it's a way you can help and create, have control and freedom and independence, why are less than 5% of adults, at least in the U.S., engaged in entrepreneurship? Why is it that we've got this wonderful thing that so few people are engaged in? And as you would expect, a central piece of that is risk. It's financial risk, it's time risk, and we'll talk about the aspect of picking good opportunities and how do you evaluate and think about the opportunities that are worth the risk for you personally. Fear of failure is another element. Most new ventures do not work. The likelihood is that you will fail. And that is certainly not intended to frighten or intended to scare, but we certainly want to give you an honest perspective of entrepreneurship. We don't want to candy coat it. We don't want to make it appear as something that's easy to do. And hopefully within our course too will help you steer clear of some of those pitfalls and improve your rate of success. There's also an opportunity cost. And what I mean by opportunity cost is, what might you do instead? If you're working professional, it might be, how do I compare my entrepreneurial opportunity with what it is I'm doing now? So your opportunity cost is, again, your next best alternative. If you are a student, it may be, do I take that job, or do I go to grad school, or do I pursue my new venture? And so in that, again, the opportunity cost is different for every person, but the orientation here is it will help you think about and evaluate and recognize kind of the push and pull that opportunities may have on you. There's also the element of ridicule. If you start a venture and you're highly successful, of course, everyone knew you could do it. Everyone had confidence in you along the way. But if it fails, particularly if you've taken a risk and you've left a stable employment, or you've left some other opportunity that was viewed as good by others to start a venture that did not work, there may be ridicule involved in that. There may also be peer pressure not to start that venture. Related to peer pressure, there may be family influence or level of pressure not to start that venture. So these are all things that we grapple with as aspiring entrepreneurs, of what are the relative risk and rewards of that entrepreneurial opportunity? And how do we impact those around us, and how are we influenced for better or for worse by peers and family that may be concerned about us, rightly so, of taking the risk of starting a new venture? And so with that as a bit of a landscape of what are the attractants and what are some of the reasons that people may not pursue entrepreneurship, we want to talk about what's it take to succeed. And this is really the central theme of our course. For me, opportunity discovery is really the fundamental element. You may have a very clever marketing campaign, you may have a very innovative financial structure, you might have a great product, but if the opportunity is not well developed, if there's not a real need for what you have, if there aren't sufficient numbers of people that pay what you need them to pay to participate in your solution, then there are fundamental flaws that may not be able to be overcome. So with that, the opportunity discovery is really the central theme of our course, and we spend a lot of time also looking at how do I analyze opportunities. So in that way, we will address business planning, we'll address fundraising, we'll do that towards the end of the course, but the bulk of our time is spent on how to identify and analyze entrepreneurial opportunities, and how do I select the good opportunities from perhaps the not so good opportunities. And how am I effective, meaning that I have something that I've evaluated and I believe it's going to work, and how am I efficient, and that I can be efficient in my use of time and my use of money and resources, and that combining these two, I can be an effective decision maker as related to evaluating my entrepreneurial opportunities and acting on them. So our approach for the course is to understand how to develop those great ideas into great companies. And again, it's that idea phase that this course is focused on. It's also based on how to look at and really dissect customer needs and wants and understand the customer that you're serving. We also talk about methods for developing solid business plans. How do you go out and raise money? How do you build a team? And how do you really set the initial cornerstones for a successful new venture? For the schedule of the course, we are within a 6-week schedule, and with that, you can go in and you can view the recorded lectures whenever you want, regardless of time zone. There's no live component to the course, and once the course material is posted, it will remain posted in live through the duration of the course, so you will be able to go back and review what's been previously discussed. We will work within a schedule, so there will still be weekly deliverables, and the expectation that there will be weekly involvement within the course, and so that should be planned into your schedule as well. With that, we will have these common weekly schedules and weekly due dates and assessments. We think by kind of holding you accountable to rolling out and delivering on the content on a weekly basis, that helps manage the overall workload and keep students from trying to cram all the content in at the end of the semester. Our format, as I mentioned, is asynchronous, meaning that there's not a live component that's entirely recorded. And each of the recordings that will be posted are between 8 and 12 minutes in length on average. And we'll post approximately 5 of such lectures per week. So in that way, you'll have approximately an hour to 2 hours of video content per week for our course over the 6-week period. We'll also include some integrated quizzes within the videos, and these are not terribly elaborate quizzes, nothing designed to trick you or nothing designed that's going to be terribly difficult, but the orientation with these in-video quizzes is it just keeps you active and keeps you engaged and mirrors the type of environment that we would have in a live classroom if we were actually asking questions of the students as we were moving through the lecture. We'll also have some weekly assignments and exams, and that there is a level of rigor in the course, and this gives you an opportunity to apply the learnings and reinforce the key methods and models that we're discussing within the course. Our recommended books include Business Model Generation and Finding Fertile Ground. Again, these are optional. The content of the course is self-contained. So within that, you do not have to buy the books, but they are certainly available and encouraged if you would like to do so. And then lastly, for next steps, and where I wanted to leave off with on this introductory lecture, is to talk about some of the cool things that you'll learn. And again, what we are talking about within our course is how do I identify and analyze entrepreneurial opportunities and know which opportunities I really want to spend time and money and energy in trying to act on and building out the first steps of that. And there's also the question of do you need to know anything about business, or are there any prerequisites for the course? And to both of those, the answer is no, you don't need to know something about that, and that you can really do that. You can have success within entrepreneurship without having a degree per se, in business or in the area. It's really, in my mind, more about the discipline and the passion and the enthusiasm that you have for your idea. And then from there, going through and learning what you need to know, when you need to know it. And so that's the aim of our course. So we will go forward with our next lecture on entrepreneurial mindset. And hopefully this video has given you an opportunity to get a bit of a flavor and a theme of the course. And with that, we thank you and we hope to see you next time.